Hello everyone, welcome to another action-packed episode of Riding Shotgun. We've got so much to go over with you tonight, starting with a look back at the Sun Fun 101 presented by K&N Performance Air Filters. We have drivers that are being eliminated from Daytona One Beach Madness. We had national points implications. There was pending weather. The winning driver was going to take home $4,000. It's one of the 3 biggest races of the year here at Myrtle Beach. Drivers have had it circled on their calendar since the schedule came out, and we are going to talk to just a few of them now.
It means everything. I mean, we need a win. We don't need a second or a third. We need a win tonight. So I can promise you I'll be doing everything it takes behind the wheel to try to get this thing in victory lane today. So points are shaping out. It's getting tighter and tighter as we knew it would. We've had a lot of bad luck at other places this year. This place has been really good for us. So hopefully we can get another win here at Myrtle Beach and keep going towards that goal for the national championship and bring a title to South Carolina.
Today's going to be a little bit different. I will say that. It's a 101-lap race. Track temp's probably going to be a good bit warmer than it was a couple weeks ago, just with the ambient temperature being warmer. So we're probably going to have to save some tires early here. Not sure when the go time is. You just got to kind of position yourself around the fast guys. Of course, Lee Pulliam, Sam Yarborough, Justin Milliken, Matt Cox, all them guys are going to be pretty good. So position yourself around them and kind of judge by them and see how the car's driving as well. But it's definitely got to save some. Tire conservation will be huge today.
I think it's pretty awesome. The purse is already great as it is. To have a chance at $5 more grand, it's just icing on the cake, and it'd be great to bring home that money.
What do you think it's going to take tonight to with this heat and going into the nighttime to take down Jamie? Because Jamie's been here, running consistently, working on his car. He was here yesterday doing a lot of practice. What's it going to take Jamie Weatherford down?
Just consistency. Jamie runs really well. I think if we have a strong top 5 finish tonight, it'll be good enough to maybe take him down.
It's great. There's so much talent that entered that with the 32 original drivers, and to go up against Joe Gibbs' grandson there, we all know he's going to make it to the top one day, and I'll still get to be like, yeah, I beat him in a little head-to-head thing.
Yeah, it was definitely a big feat coming in. Pulliam, all these guys racing for the Madness, and then we're all trying to race for the 400. That was our biggest deal while we came here, was try to get ready for the Myrtle Beach 400 and try to get a lock in here. So I think we've got a good piece, and hopefully we can pull it off tonight.
Oh, you can't beat it. You learn so much from people like Lee and Milliken and Yarborough, who've raced here for I don't know how many years. And all it does is just it teaches you a lot of things. I've been racing late models for 3 years now, and they've been racing late models for over 10, you know what I mean? It's just, you can't compare it. It's the same thing as Kyle Busch running a Truck Series race. All you can do is learn from it.
We even had a new driver come into Myrtle Beach Speedway this weekend. Sam Meyer, 14 years old, made the trip all the way from Wisconsin to race this weekend. He's going to run a couple more before the year is over. And right now, our own Steve Zacharias sat down to have a word with him.
I've got my chance to sit here with 14-year-old Sam Meyer. I said 14 years old. Welcome, Sam, to Myrtle Beach Speedway. You've got your chance to be out there for the Sun Fun 101 tonight with these big guns. How's it going to be for you out there tonight at 14 years old?
It's definitely all about learning because I'm only 14 with all the big guns out there. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and maybe we can even get to victory lane.
Sam, I know you said you started in go-karts. You've worked your way to the Legends Series. You had to run limited, obviously, because of the age for a little while, but now it's time to go out there for the Sun Fun 101. A big race, a lot of big names, should be exciting. How do you feel it's going to shape out for you, and how did you get to this point today?
Definitely knowing about the track and how it eats up tires. I'm not really good about that yet because it's only my second late model race. Hopefully we can take it easy almost and just be there for the end.
If you had to tell the young kids how to get to this point and where you've been, what advice would you give out to the youngsters to get up here into this kind of division and run with these guys at Myrtle Beach Speedway?
Definitely to have confidence and be able to go get it and just have fun because everything goes good when you're having fun.
Sam, I know you're on summer break up there in Wisconsin. All your friends and all your family members, I'm sure, they're up there celebrating the 4th of July. Not many of them probably have race cars. So how do they treat you? What's different at school when you tell them you're a race car driver?
Well, every weekend I'm usually gone. So, they're like, oh, Sam's gone on Friday again. I guess let's have fun without him. But they like it. They like to know what I'm doing. They ask how I did, and just they like it. They like me as me.
Sam, who got you here? Who's brought you up to this point at Myrtle Beach Speedway to get to that, driving that 41 Ford Menards car that's out there tonight?
I definitely need to thank Menards, Briggs and Stratton, and my dad for all they've done. I'd like to thank Hawk McCall Motorsports, Lee McCall, and Rains McCall because they've set up an amazing car tonight. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and check out the highlights from the late model feature. Riding Shotgun is brought to you by Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants, Performance and Beyond, Renegade Race Fuel, racers that win, pour it in, Hoosier Racing Tire, tires designed for champions, Bell & Bell Buick GMC, the official pace car and pace truck of Myrtle Beach Speedway. NASCAR Racing Experience, the true NASCAR driving experience here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. RacingJunk.com, world's #1 racing and performance classifieds. The Carolina Opry, the best Myrtle Beach shows, voted #1 every year. CarQuest Auto Parts, great people, great products, great prices. Shalot Electric Stores, the area's best choice for all your electric needs. And by NOPI Nationals Motorsports Super Show at Myrtle Beach Speedway, July 28th through the 30th. Welcome back, folks. We're going to take a look at the late model highlights from the Sun Fun 101 presented by K&N Performance Air Filters. Saturday night, it was the Sun Fun 101 brought to you by K&N Performance Air Filters. Lee Pulliam was your Carolina Opry pole sitter, but chose to start in the 10th position to try to get maximum points towards the national championship. Sam Yarborough led 3 other black cars to the point at the start of the race, but everybody was just kind of biding their time and saving tires. Not Big Ed Williams. The black number 10 hammered it down and said he was going to show the way. He pulled out to a full straightaway advantage early on in the event. If you wonder what happened to Lee Pulliam after starting in a 10th position, he stayed there for much of the first 30 laps of the race. Chose to conserve his tires, not push it, not try to get to the front, but it was a hornet's nest back around him in the middle of the pack as they went 3 wide with him on the inside going into turn number 1. He decided shortly thereafter that it was time to go on because of an incident that happened right in front of him. Sam Meyer got into Colby Howard, your National Rookie of the Year contenders, and they spun right in front of Pulliam. Let's look at it in slow motion. You see Meyer get into the back of Colby Howard, and Pulliam is immediately behind them. He makes a move to the inside, and fortunately for him, Stuart Ricks, who was in the white car behind him, checked up, gave Pulliam the room to be able to get to the inside and preserve his shot at a national title. On the restart, after the caution flag, it was Big Ed Williams and his son Lucas on the front row, but it was Lee Pulliam who decided it was time to go to the front. He did not want to mess around back there in that pack, so he was on lap 13 up to the 5th spot. By lap 15, he was up to 3rd, and by the time we got to lap 35, he decided to turn up the wick, went around Big Ed Williams as Big Ed's tires began to fade, and from that moment on, it was Pulliam's race. He pulled away and didn't look back. Pulliam got to the front of the pack and started to conserve a little bit to see if he would make it to lap 101, but then rain began to threaten the racetrack. Pulliam turned it up, pulled away, and as the showers began to move in, he knew he had it sealed up if they called it at that point, and sure enough, the rains came and the race was called official.
It was wild back there at the back. We wanted to ride a little bit, but it was 3 wide and beating and banging, cars getting sideways. We had 2 cars wrecked right in front of us, missed that by inches, and finally I just went to the top. I said I got to go and get by some of these guys. So anyhow, we got kind of closer to the front where we knew who we were racing with, and had was able to use the outside and get the lead, and just try to keep the pace down to save the tires on the car for the end in case had a late caution or anything.
The top 4, Lee Pulliam took the win. Matt Cox with his best run of the year was 2nd. Sam Yarborough ended up 3rd, and Justin Milliken was 4th. There you go, folks. Lee Pulliam remained dominant once again at Myrtle Beach Speedway, and he continues his quest to bring a first-time national championship to Myrtle Beach Speedway and his 4th overall. Taking a look at the Wheeling All-American National Point standings, Lee Pulliam continues to lead, although that lead is beginning to narrow a little bit. In second place is Trevor Huddleston, who's running out at Irwindale Speedway and Kern County. He has been racking up win after win. He had 4 of them this past weekend, although 2 of them were not over full fields. Dylan Garner is right on his heels at well. Both of them could make a run at Pulliam. Mitch Keeter is in the 3rd spot. Mitch Keeter is running dirt out in the Midwest at Humboldt and Salina racetracks. He has actually got 3 different drivers trying to chase him down. Tad Davis, Tanner Mullins, and R.C. Whitewell are all nipping at his heels around the top 10 in the national points. And lurking on the horizon, don't forget, is one Philip Morris. Philip Morris grabbed the win in South Boston's big 200-lapper over the 4th of July, followed that up with a win in one of the features at Langley this weekend, and is knocking on the top 10 to try and put a run at Lee Pulliam. If it all plays out, you very well could see the national championship play out on the racetrack at Myrtle Beach Speedway this fall, as Philip Morris and Lee Pulliam could very well end up 1-2 in the national points and settle it right here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. After the elimination round of the Sun Fun 101 brought to you by K&N Performance Air Filters, we are down to the final 8. 5 races to go, they'll count their best 4, and we will know the 4 drivers that are going to advance with the gold invitations to the Daytona 1 Beach Madness Finals in the Myrtle Beach 400. The final 8 pairings are Sam Yarborough going head-to-head with Lucas Williams. Luke Sorrow is going to try to unseat Brian Voss. Lee Pulliam is going to take everything that Bryant Barnhill has and more. And the matchup that we've all been looking forward to, Matt Cox and Justin Milliken. No love lost between those two. Look for sparks to fly when they get together on the track as they battle for one of those final 4 spots in Daytona 1 Beach Madness. The bracket is really shaping up, and we're getting ready to make 2 more races count towards those Daytona 1 points on July 22nd. Our next race on the Myrtle Beach Speedway calendar welcomes a brand new sponsor. O'Reilly Auto Parts is going to be on board to be the title sponsor of our July 22nd races. We have twin late model features, Chargers, mini stocks, and vintage cars. You do not want to miss this race. And if for some crazy reason you can't be here, don't forget you can watch it on local channel 4 on HTC Cable, HTCConnect.com, and FansChoice.tv. For all of you big car and truck enthusiasts, you don't want to miss out on our next event. The NOPI Nationals will be invading Myrtle Beach Speedway July 28th through the 30th. The NOPI Nationals has a full calendar that's going to fill up the entire 3 days of that weekend, starting on Friday night. The Friday night glow off is always a big hit. Once the sun goes down, the lights come up, and everybody has a big party at Myrtle Beach Speedway for the NOPI glow off. We're also going to have, starting at 6 o'clock on Friday night, drifting on the oval track and head-to-head drag racing. So if you want to come out and show what you got, I don't know that we're running for pink slips, but we're running for pride. You can come out and run head-to-head against another competitor on a drag race track set up on the pit road of the oval. You don't want to miss out on that oval drifting though. For those of you that missed it during the Monster Truck Show, it was an amazing display of guys slinging it sideways all around the historic half mile here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. We'll then roll into Saturday and we will have burnouts, donuts, audio competition, loud horn competition, tug of wars, everything that makes NOPI amazing. And NOPI is going to be bigger and better than it has ever been. Those of you that have been here in the past few years have known how crowded it got in the infield with over 1,500 cars and trucks filling the place and trying to get around. We have decided to expand it out to the entire complex now. We will have judged cars, or judged vehicles, I should say, on the infield, and we will have non-judged in the parking area outside of the racetrack. But everybody will still have plenty to do because there will be vendors inside and outside, activities going on all over the grounds, so you're not going to miss out whether you're on the inside or the outside. Speaking of vendors, there are still a few limited spots available for vendors. If you would like to be a part of a show that has some 1,500 vehicles and 5,000 or more spectators, you have an opportunity by calling the Myrtle Beach Speedway office and letting them know that you would like to be a part of the NOPI Nationals. So again, NOPI Nationals is invading. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. It's going to be more off the hook. Don't forget there's a bikini contest. You will see everything that you can imagine out here on the 48 acres that make up Myrtle Beach Speedway coming July 28th to the 30th. You want to be here for all 3 days. Make sure you get a 3-day pass so you save a little bit of money and be a part of the biggest show in the Myrtle Beach area, the NOPI Nationals. When we come back, we're going to break down more of the racing action from Friday and Saturday night this weekend with a new twist. Going to look at the races from the national points perspective and take a look at those guys that are competing to finish first in the $25,000 to win Wheeling All-American National Points.
The NOPI Nationals bring the heat wave to Myrtle Beach Speedway, July 28th through the 30th. A weekend of competition and fun. To register to participate or to purchase tickets, go to myrtlebeachspeedway.com, July 28th through the 30th.
You know, I just was Googling, what's going, Myrtle Beach racetrack. I thought, there's a racetrack. And I thought, oh my goodness, there's a racing experience. That was just, okay, we have to do it.
Yes, I'm excited.
And my daughter, she loves NASCAR, and my brother-in-law does too, so it's a great experience to be able to be here in town and enjoy this. She's going to be 24 here in a couple of weeks. She's a little nervous, but she's going to have a great time.
Very nervous.
It's awesome, just awesome.
Oh my, it was awesome. It was crazy.
Not bad at all. She did good. She didn't kill it starting out. Looked like she was having a lot of fun out there. I'm really a happy dad. That was great. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. I highly recommend, if a person can do this, do it. Do it. It's well worth it.
Welcome back, everyone. The late models were not the only ones running on Saturday night during the Sun Fun 101 presented by K&N Performance Air Filters. Let's take a look at how the other divisions fared before the rains came. A big thank you to the folks from K&N Performance Air Filters for the giveaway they gave to the fans as part of Sun Fun 101 night. The vintage cars were the first feature up, and the old 88 Rat Rod brought them to the green flag. We had a great field, at least 13 cars on the track. W.C. Bell, who is a big supporter of the track and of the vintage cars, was out there in the old red and gold 39. Michael Elliott finally put him a lap down late in the race and ended up going on to score the win as he passed the old 99 coming to the checkers. Grand Strand pick and pull mini stocks were up next. Mark Evans, our last winner in mini stocks, on the pole with Willie Fulford to his outside. They were the class of the field in the event. Evans had the advantage. Willie stalked him all night long, but in the end, it was Mark Evans who not only saw the checkered flag first, but he was handed a checkered flag in victory lane to celebrate. That's Evans' second win in as many races. Next up, it was the Island Pools and Spas Charger Division. Joe Armakovich qualified on pole, chose to start on the outside. Tim Wright in the number one started alongside. Wright kept Armakovich honest all night long, staying right on his back bumper for most of the event. But when the chips were on the table, it was Armakovich who stretched out that advantage and was the first one to cross the finish line with nobody in his rearview mirror. Another dominant performance by Armakovich, the defending champion of Chargers and the points leader going out of tonight. Armakovich was first, Tim Wright second, Brian Owens crossed the line in third, and Alex Hicks rounded out the top four. Next up, it was Super Trucks. Starting on the pole, it was Terry Evans, but Clay Thomas took advantage right off the bat. Thomas was out front with Evans stalking him throughout the event. Early on, we had a caution as Barry Elvis was put into the outside wall, and he was of the opinion that Hayes Goodson was the reason and showed his displeasure. That wasn't enough to cool him down. He went back into the hauler, and sure enough, people tried to console him, but he was having none of it because his truck was destroyed, as you can see right there. on the restart after the caution, it was go time. Thomas was on the inside, Evans was on the outside, and they stayed that way for multiple laps. One lap, Thomas would be slightly ahead. The next lap, it was Evans that had the advantage. They rubbed a little paint coming out of turn number 4, and eventually that might have been the impetus that got Terry Evans all the way out front, because in the end, it was the 38 that pulled into victory lane. Terry Evans scoring his 30th all-time win at Myrtle Beach Speedway across all divisions. Terry Evans was your winner, Clay Thomas second, Robert Powell third, and Kerry Lawrence rounding out the top 4. First up in our results this weekend, the Cars Tour was in action at Tri-County up in Hudson, North Carolina. A great track that unfortunately doesn't run on a weekly basis anymore, but they put on a great show with the Cars Tour. Matt Craig had a dominating performance in the super late models, only briefly losing the lead to Brandon Setzer, but he took it home by over 2 seconds in the super late models. The late model race was a little bit different. A late race restart saw Josh Berry and Garrett Campbell start side by side and drag race into turn 1. Down the backstretch, it was a full-on sprint to turn 3. Garrett Campbell made a Hail Mary dive to try and pull a slide job on Berry. Berry saw it coming, checked up, dove back to the bottom, got back around Campbell, and an almost 4-wide run to the finish line. It was Josh Berry scoring the win in the late model stock feature. All right, folks, we're going to continue on with our look at results. And like I said, we're doing a little different twist this week. Going to kind of look at results that had an impact on that national points race, because we're kind of having a national points focus a little bit here tonight on riding shotgun. So first up, we're talking about Trevor Huddleston. I mentioned it earlier. He runs at Irwindale and at Kern County. He's also run a race at Tucson this year. But right now, he's sitting second in points. And he had a dominating weekend for sure. Ran at Irwindale and at Kern County. At Irwindale, he actually finished second to a young lady, but unfortunately for the second week in a row, she was thrown out. The first week it was for shocks, and they moved her to the back of the pack, gave her last place points. This week she had too much compression in her engines, so she not only was failing tech, but got completely disqualified, got no points whatsoever for the night. So that moved Huddleston into the winner spot. So they ran twin features at Irwindale. Huddleston held off Dylan Gardner, Alan Lawless, Ryan Vargas, and Cole Cabrera in his first feature. In the second race, it was Gardner again coming home second. Nick Joanitis was third, Ryan Vargas fourth, and Jagger Jones ended up in fifth. I mentioned Dylan Gardner earlier. Gardner is in the top 10 in national points as well, and Ryan Vargas is just outside, still within the top 15. So all three of those guys running with decent car counts at Irwindale might have a chance to get up and put some pressure on Lee Pulliam. And that's why Pulliam is continuing to come to Myrtle Beach, because we've been blessed to continue to have some good car counts this year, and that's what it takes to win that national championship. 18 cars is a maximum field, and we've been having that each and every race at Myrtle Beach. Huddleston then went to Kern County on Saturday, and he took 2 wins in their features, but they only had 14 cars. So he gets those winner bonus points, but he's not getting a full field set of points, so that hurts him a little. In Kern County, it was Huddleston over Brandon Weaver, Dylan Garner, David Hegsma, and Paul Ebersacher. Ironically, they had the exact same finish in both of their features. I did go back and check, and some of the guys further down did flip places, so it wasn't a misprint, and they didn't have the same finishing order listed for both of them, but they did have the exact same top 5 in both of their feature runs. As for third place in national points, it's Mitch Keeter, who's running on dirt. It's kind of cool that the national champion in NASCAR can run about any kind of car as long as it's the feature division at the racetrack where they run. So Keeter runs in modifieds in Humboldt and Salina out in the Midwest. And this weekend, it wasn't Keeter's weekend. Keeter came home in 4th. I mentioned it earlier when I talked about national points that Tad Davis and Tanner Mullins are nipping at Keeter's heels, and they both outran him this past weekend. Tanner Mullins grabbed the win ahead of Tad Davis. Chad Domer came home 3rd. Mitch Keeter was 4th, and Edward Lisi rounded out the top 5 at Humboldt Speedway. So Keeter's got a shot, but he's going to have the real hassle dealing with these other 2 guys. You got some guys with some real talent, and they're all mixing it up at the front. So it's hard to say which one of those Midwest guys is going to be the representative that ultimately puts the pressure on Pulliam. And speaking of pressure on Pulliam, we've talked about it before this year. We're talking about it for weeks to come, I am sure. Philip Morris is making another run at the national championship. He's had a good, strong start to the year, and he's decided that it's a year worth taking a shot. So he ran at South Boston for their 200 lapper, their big race over 4th of July, and Morris outdistanced Stacy Purrier. Nick Smith was third. Lee Pulliam only managed a fourth, and Peyton Sellers came home in fifth. So Morris was extremely excited after the race. I heard from a couple guys that said it was the most excited they had ever seen him after a victory. He then went to Langley Speedway on Saturday, and it was an interesting day to say the least. In practice, Philip Morris's engine grenaded so bad that they were out walking the track picking up parts out of the bottom end of his engine. It was a major failure. So Morris had an issue at hand. He runs the new spec motor. The backup motor that he was going to lease from somebody was a Ford crate, and that changes your whole dynamics, your gear ratios, everything. And Morris didn't think he could get that done in time to be able to race in the event. So Peyton Sellers, another former national champion, took his spec motor out of his car and put it in Morris's car, took that Ford crate and put it in his own car, and then they went out and ran. The first race, it was Greg Edwards taking a win over Matt Waltz. C.E. Falk was third. Peyton Sellers came home fourth with that Ford crate, and Nick Smith rounded out the top five. In the second race, it was Morris who played a little strategy on this one. They had said in advance that the invert was going to be 8 cars. So in that first race, Morris just kind of ran around the 7th or 8th spot, made sure he stayed right inside that invert. And then when they did the invert for the second race, he had finished 8th, so he started on the pole, and he walked away with them with a little bit fresher tires because he didn't push it so hard in that first race. But Morris did grab the win. Greg Edwards was second. C.E. Falk with another third-place finish. Peyton Sellers fourth, and Matt Waltz rounding out the top five. So that gives you an idea of what your national points guys are doing. Philip Morris is clawing up that ladder. He's up to the top 10 now. Those other guys that are running out west are giving him a run as well. It's going to be very interesting to see. We got a little over 2 months to go before a national champion is crowned. When we come back to Riding Shotgun, we're going to break it all down for you.
Our D180 is one of the best products you'll ever use. Just spray it on any greasy area, let it set for 2 seconds, then wipe it off. It's that easy. Folks, we're here at Myrtle Beach Speedway to show you how our products work, how easy they are to work. But there's no better place to test them than on a race car. Greasy fingerprints, no problem. As you can see, spray it on, give it a couple of seconds, and wipe it off. It is that easy. Just spray it on and let it set for a second. Then after it sets for a second, just wipe it off. So there goes the tire marks. It's that easy. You can use it around the house to clean your tools or clean just about anything. But as you can see, this gas cap is really, really dirty, greasy, and grimy. And what we want to do here is spray it on and wipe it clean. It's that easy. As you can see how effective the D180 degreaser is. Just spray it on, wipe it off. It's that easy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Riding Shotgun. It's time for a little breakdown. And I know sometimes we do some rants in this thing. Sometimes we're happy and we're giving some kudos. This time we're going to try and be a little bit informative. This week's Riding Shotgun has kind of had a national taste to it, talking a little bit about the Wheeling All-American National Points Championship. And that's what we want to talk a little bit about in the breakdown. The National Championship, there are those that will malign it, say that it's hard to really pick a national champion because different regions have different rules and different philosophies about how they do their racing. But in the end, you're talking about NASCAR sanctioning some 65 tracks across the United States with all types of different vehicles as the feature divisions, and try to pick a way to fairly as possible let somebody be crowned as a national champion without it being a touring series and having people drive all over the country, which would be prohibitively expensive. You end up having to come up with a weighted system based on number of cars in a track, in a field, where drivers finish. You try to avoid penalizing places that handicap. The Northeast routinely handicaps drivers. The more you win, the further back in the fields you have to start. In the Southeast, that was never the philosophy. They always went based on qualifying times, and your fastest guys started up front. So guys were winning national championships without ever passing a car that was contending for the win most of the time. Out west, we got guys running dirt right now. In the Midwest, running at Humboldt and Salina. But basically, you've got a system in place now. It's as fair as I think you can be. Obviously, you do have some start and park issues sometimes, but they've even tried to curtail that. But ultimately, you're weighting the field based on 18 cars being a full field. You get an extra 2 bonus points if you start in 10th or worse. If you run twin features, you have to invert at least the top 8 in order for the points to count for those top 8 cars in the second race. So it's kind of come around to a point where they've been doing this for years, but it seems like they've come up with a fair system. And the system we have now is going to be potentially a great chance for fans of Myrtle Beach Speedway to see something they have never seen before here at the historic half mile. Myrtle Beach Speedway has never been the home track of a national champion in the top division. We have had a national champ that was in the lower divisions, but in the feature division, which at Myrtle Beach is the late models, we've never had somebody score a national championship. The possibility is there for that all to change this year. And the cool thing that could happen, we've seen it in the past at South Boston and Motor Mile up in Virginia, when Philip Morris and Lee Pulliam were duking it out head to head, trying to win state championships and national championships. Well, that same thing may very well play out right here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Right now, Pulliam is your national champ points leader, but he's got some guys nipping at his heels, including Crest Van Dyke, who runs up in Eastern Tennessee and in Virginia, that has talked about coming down knowing that if he's going to win a national title, he's going to have to come down here and knock off Lee Pulliam and prevent Pulliam from getting those max point finishes. At the same time, you have Philip Morris. We talked about it a little bit ago. Philip kind of did a part-time schedule for a bit. He's now coming back running a full-time schedule and has evaluated his program and feels like he's got the best car that he has ever had to run for a national championship. So he has also said that it's probably going to be in his best interest to come down to Myrtle Beach and run head-to-head with Pulliam to try to pull off this national championship. So if you're anywhere near Myrtle Beach or you have a chance to plan a trip to Myrtle Beach, make sure you plan it around a Myrtle Beach race, because there's a very good chance you can see history made as Lee Pulliam tries to etch his name in one step higher in the record books. Right now, Larry Phillips is a 5-time national champion, the only guy that's ever won 5 of them. Philip Morris is 1 behind, that's 4 national championships, and Pulliam has 3. So with those two battling it out, you could see history happen either way. If Pulliam manages another national championship, he'll tie Morris and they'll have 4 apiece. If Morris pulls it off, he would actually tie Larry Phillips, who's currently nominated for the NASCAR Hall of Fame with 5 national championships. So either way, you're seeing some amazing racing here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. You're seeing a brand new sponsor come on board in O'Reilly Auto Parts because they see the value that we're bringing. The crowds are starting to get better and better, but we want to see more of you. This place seats 9,000 people, and we would love to have every one of those seats filled by the time we start settling out this national championship. Before we leave, we want to say a quick thank you to the guys at Pit Row Media, Corey Latham, Jimmy Dimsdale, Tater Green. There's a bunch of other folks that I still am probably forgetting that provide us with the pictures and the videos that we use to make Riding Shotgun awesome. We also want to give a shout out to the man behind the camera, Pat Donnelly, who's been making Riding Shotgun so much better the last few weeks with his video capabilities. So for now, I'm Mike Neff. We're getting ready for July 22nd as our next race. The NOPI Nationals, July 28th to the 30th. Myrtle Beach Nationals the following weekend, August 3rd to the 5th. And most of all, we're looking forward to seeing you all at another short track very soon. You've been riding shotgun.